Welcome to project management today. We're a little small in numbers today, but appreciate you being here. We'll do quick introductions here at the table. I'm Jenny Knight, City Administrator. Sarah Whitburn, City Planning.
Matt Robertson, City Engineer.
Brian Pyatt, Public Works Director. Brian Barker, Northview Fire District. Tyler Seaman, Building Inspector.
Here we have,
We'll go with City Council.
perfect. We're gonna maybe reverse the order of the agenda today. Preston, would you like to join us up here? We're gonna do, since the final approval for plat 2A should be pretty cut and dry, based on Planning Commission's preliminary plat approval last night, we already received via email your survey from the county letter.
Yep, there were a couple changes that we made through that review, but got that finalized yesterday. Minor details, yeah.
So you got those already finalized?
Yeah, so the plat that I had sent yesterday morning, that's the final one that the county surveyor signed off on.
Okay.
Yep.
So any other comments from our side?
No, I don't have any.
I kind of had a question for the phase 2B, which would be a separate plat. Kind of follow a similar process that we went through last night, essentially. Okay.
Yeah. Once we get that, whatever worked out with FEMA for
Yep.
the Clomar, isn't it a Clomar?
The low
The
mark.
low mark.
The low mark, yeah.
Then yeah, as soon as that's recorded with them
Uh-huh.
and everything's worked out, then you can add those buildings back in.
Okay.
And the
Yeah.
process would be the same. You come to project management,
Yep,
have the county review it.
yep.
And are you, I guess it doesn't matter, are you gonna run that as, well, like phase 2B, or are you gonna do a 2A and then plan?
We'll do my understanding, we'll do a phase 2B separate plat.
That'll just include the parcel A1, and B1, I guess.
Yep, A1, A2, and B as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And then A3 stays the same as the open space. Common space.
Yeah. Okay, I think with this one. Where they just got preliminary approval. I think we're probably fine, just have Jack with that letter and some signatures on it, so.
And then you mentioned last night, you guys are finishing up the buildings of phase 1, so
Yep.
you'll just need to print the Mylar and collect signatures, get that recorded before
Yep.
you take out building permits on.
Yep.
2A.
Yeah. Do you prefer getting, I know there's a lot of like the LLCs and those signatures first before the city, or?
Yeah, our preference is to even have the county sign off on it, so that's the only signatures that are left are the city signatures when we receive it.
Okay.
And then we'll collect all of them on our end and return it back to you for reporting.
We still have, let me just double check. The address label somewhere in here.
Yeah, I think it's on the sheet 2. And maybe goes into sheet 3 as well.
Okay.
But my understanding was when the original phase 1 and 2, all of the addressing got completed as one.
Yeah, I think we gave you guys addresses for the.
Yeah, so lot numbers have stayed the same and addresses have stayed the same, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think, just wait see that letter from us.
Okay.
I'll do like a final, just quick glance over
Yep.
it before you print the Mylar.
Okay.
And then once we get that letter, give you the green light to go ahead and print the Mylar, and start the signatures.
Okay.
So. Okay, cool. That's it for that one.
That's it. So we'll get that letter over to your team and then. All right, let's roll into phase 3. So you had originally sent us a concept plan for phase 3. You remember how many months ago that was? April?
Yes. So,
Go. Trying to get, now this might differ from what you submitted to UDOT, is that right?
yeah, so I think the process was we submitted this to you, to the city. We came in for the project management meeting. And then we followed up with the UDOT pre-application meeting a couple weeks after that. The concept slightly changed, adding in that access point aligned with Canfield Drive. We had that discussion with UDOT, and then I had followed up kind of during that process too. I know the fire marshal wasn't able to stay towards the end when we got to this, and so I followed up with the fire marshal to get input on the connectivity based off of this plan, not having access. We got that memo. I kind of feel like in the UDOT meeting, we didn't get entirely a direction in terms of is the access required. We got a little bit of detail into what they want that alignment to look like. A little bit of the street section requirement that they talked about. We went through and made those updates to the existing plan. And then before essentially moving forward with UDOT and submitting that formal application, I think we just kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about it and, get some more input.
Just on the access specifically?
On the access specifically.
Of whether they need that. Because the last thing we mentioned was we felt like that access to Washington would be beneficial. And what they're proposing is to not have that access, take it off 1300. So, yeah, that's basically what we're wanting to discuss, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I think also when we had the original traffic impact study from phase 1 and 2 and the commercial area, which the study takes that into account. I believe the discussion on the traffic light is being pushed up to north. I can't remember the exact intersection up there, but I believe in the traffic study, that's what it mentions. Proposal of the traffic light up there. It references Canfield Drive and gives the existing kind of thoughts and what that access currently runs at. I believe the rating was very low with that right now. UDOT obviously mentioned, my understanding is that UDOT wants the traffic study to be updated as kind of like a memo with a proposed access on phase 3. And then determining if that would be a right in, right out, or a full movement access based off of, these additional units and that current operation of Canfield, how it exists now.
So when you're referencing the lights, is that the one, we've talked to UDOT several different times and had Ogden City on multiple calls with them. There's not been a solid determination on whether that's at 1400 north or if it's going to be pushed up to 1500 north.
Right. So I don't think, if I remember right, Judy, I don't think they ever anticipated the
It'd
light
be
at 1300. potentially at 1,400 with the commercial development that, if that, goes through and lines up with Lockwood, then they talk about.
Putting a
one
light
right
there.
Ogden is really pushing for a light at 1,100 north. Where Ogden really wants one. So if one went in at 1,100, you definitely probably would never have one at 1,300. And then the discussions, whether there's one. 1,400 would probably work best for their spacing, but.
So I
Yeah.
guess the concern from our team would be that additional traffic being pushed to 1,300 north, knowing there is a high likelihood there would be a light there.
Right.
Is that restating kind of what your question is?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think also taking into consideration what I don't think the city's stance is for any of the access on the phase 3 to be a public road. We want to maintain that as a private road, which I believe in the UDOT discussion was about a 40-foot right of way and then kind of taper down once you get into the community. I think that also plays a part in determining, that access there. Obviously, it's a high trafficked, Washington's I think 50, 55 mile an hour posted. And so it kind of drives traffic in there and then narrow over
I think it's
roads.
45.
I think it's
45.
45.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's what the posted speaker
Yeah.
signs say.
Yeah.
So do you have, I guess I'm trying to see. If the traffic study, I think that has been referenced with what was done for phases 1 and 2. Has it been updated for phase 3?
It has not. And that's kind of the next step.
Right?
Is to, my understanding, and we haven't reached out to, Hales Engineering is the group that performed that. Yeah, my understanding is that would be more of like an updated memo, not an entirely new traffic study, but just taking that existing one and including the phase 3 in there.
Yeah, because I think that would be what I want to see all from the city is what the traffic study recommends. Whether they recommend providing that additional access onto Washington. Or if if the turn lanes and the length of those turn pockets at 1,300, because the other thing is. All of this is feeding up to kind of this little bit of a goofy access right here. It's kind of right on that turn. So pretty much all of this is, if they're going up to the light, most of this is coming up to here, then making that turn, and you don't have the longest turn lanes anyway. So I'd like to see study, an update about that from Hal or whoever you use for traffic engineer. I think I'm still in favor of having an access on Washington to give, another way out instead of sending them all up to 1,300 more.
Then just right in right now.
Yeah. And it'd be private, it wouldn't be a city. So access down here.
Right. Right.
But I think having your traffic engineer look at that would be helpful. Give us more,
information on that. Yeah. I think too, obviously I can't speak for, the Baileys and the landowner and the developer. I know the right in, right out is a concern in just terms of cost for that. Also, which I didn't consider, I think the fire marshal brought it up, but making this a right in, right out also would create Canfield as a right in, right out would be, I believe, my understanding too, because I think that median would have to extend further down.
But I think that's a UDOT thing. If it's right in, right out, you're putting a median out.
right, yeah, right, that's the only way to make it right in, right out,
Right.
have median, and then you're right, then Campbell can cross. That would be, I guess, up to UDOT, whether that would be required.
I guess
I don't know if it's chicken and the egg. Have we discussed even, like, if they wanna do a traffic study with all this density? When we don't have any, like, we're not anticipating this kind of density without some sort of, like, we talked about improvements in the park, just because it doesn't have the rights for this amount of density. And definitely not 7 and 8 units connected. So maybe if you want to run it with max density to get the traffic numbers that way, you can always backtrack on it, but I wouldn't anticipate this is approval for
Sure.
that.
That's not-
Like, there's a lot of discussion to happen with that kind of density.
Yeah, I think our goal is to kind of get the overall access required or not, talk to UDOT. Cause I think that would allow, more of a plan that would be, more, I think that upfront work, rather than having to, change it a bunch of times. So I think the access is the first step into the overall concept plan, for sure.
Well, I have a question along with that, maybe back to 1300. Are we looking at a potential like that? Not.
At 1300, I don't believe so. I think it's
This is going
pushed to the north.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I've also noticed that as Lively says in access in N Washington, your outside lanes are now being used as parking lots, so it's a very narrow 2-lane road. That's all it is. So I'm not sure, is this built to be bigger? Because it will become a heavy traffic flow regardless of what you do with, looking in and out access. I think that's great. But is this built to be bigger, or is this always going to stay that size? Because I think if we have a hazard going on with parking lot on both sides and narrow access, everybody else is going to be in and out of it.
And you're talking about 1300? Yeah, that's the right of way width that it exists now is what it will.
So it's right away, and that's parking on both sides of the road. Because I think what's happening is residents are now parking on both sides of the road. Whether they're using theirs, their convenience is this parking.
Yep. Okay.
And it's also, as I'm watching, it's impeding your workers, you'll be working up and down there, using that access for construction. Now you've got residents and workers, so that area is completely filled. And I see the cops and traffic going back and forth, traffic coming in and out, and residents and the workers trying to get access to the cars.
Yeah.
This is potentially become hazardous.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can see that. I think, once kind of construction moves out, potentially there's some more alleviation with that.
Well, it'll intensify even as you put the rest of your house and movements on the other side. Yeah, I don't know, I see it happening as I'm living right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're always gonna have,
And you're gonna have that, that's true.
you're always gonna have people parking right here. It's a quick in and out from their front door,
Yeah.
even though they've got the driveway and the garage in the back.
And you will get the same thing on the other side. Maybe not as much, but you will get.
Yeah.
So, I guess, as much as traffic flow is going, I grab that you're looking at a space street, even if it's right out, right out.
Yeah.
We'll at least give an option for people to get in there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know as far as the private drives,
That was,
yeah, I don't think there's any parking allowed, street parking on the private drives on 1300. I want to say it's a 60-foot right of way, maybe 66.
It's a 60-foot right away, but but there's space to park and there's no parking restrictions on the public road.
Right.
Besides our normal. mature ordinance.
Mature ordinance, yeah.
I mean, we could go and I was gonna try to put the signs up, paint the curb red, try to force them to use inside.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that also then
that would fall.
becomes the enforcement.
Would fall.
That falls.
Okay, that's-
Yeah, 1300, yeah.
that's-
Yep.
Yeah, did they mention, I'm just looking at UDOT's pre-app notes. Did they mention anything about the right in, right out? I don't see it in their notes.
Yeah, I have to go back to look through. I think the consensus after the call was following up with the updated traffic impact study and then taking that information to make their determination.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I'd say we're kind of in the same boat then, right, Matt? We are curious what that traffic study would show, but leaning towards that access.
That's what I just said.
Heavily leaning that direction.
Yeah.
That's it.
Are there other things you wanted to touch on with this, or do we want to get that hashed out?
I think, yeah, I think
I know
that's
that you don't have the other members of the
right.
team here.
Yeah,
We don't want
no,
to get into too
Yeah,
much.
no, I think that's a good idea, because like I said, I think that really dictates the site layout and that access, I think is the biggest item that we want to get cleared first before really making changes.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Good.
okay, awesome.
Yeah, let us know on that, and if your traffic engineer wants to do a quick, online meeting with me or whatever.
Uh-huh.
that's fine.
Okay,
But like Jenny mentioned, we mentioned, we'd like to see that connection.
yeah,
Can I ask just a question?
yeah,
Question, what are you considering open space in this layout? It says 28% open space, but I'm not seeing 28% open space.
Anything that's green.
yeah, so, I mean, we have the highlighted amenity area, which there would be an amenity in there, I don't think anything's determined yet. Everything between the townhomes would be essentially,
Anything that's not paved or a house on it is what you're considering?
so it's slightly different because there's a cell tower here, that obviously can't, that's remaining.
Playground.
The amenity section here, yeah, playground, it's currently like fenced off around here, so we basically just followed that fence line. And then our amenity area here, and then everything between the townhomes, which would be the common area, essentially has the sidewalk connectivity that's going through. And those areas, but this is in terms of amenities, that would be our amenity area in there.
So those site and lot information, is that the total site with phase one and like?
No, this is all just pertaining to the phase 3 portion there.
So there's 2.4 acres, because the amenity area is only 0.27 acres. I just don't know where the other 2 point,
Yeah, I'd have to talk to our planner about that, but I think she's just accounting for,
anything green.
yeah, essentially all common area. It's a little bit harder to see, but essentially all of this is our limited common area, the driveway. And then we have about a 10-foot limited common area in the back.
Are they counting
Which
the
would be in the
driveway?
rear.
The
I don't think we're counting the lot footprint at all in that calculation. It would just be all of the common area, and then that would be excluding the limited common.
Yeah, I think, like we mentioned last time, this just doesn't have the same rights as phase 1 and 2 are really dense. You just look at just that, but they also donated the
several acres.
whatever.
9 acres.
9 acres of open space and public park area.
The city park.
Yeah. So so I know it's easy to be like, well, we gave them that much there, but not really, because they gave, almost 10 acres of open space park area on the other side.
And we'll probably be looking at parking much more closely, seeing the problems that the first one has created. The first area does not seem to have adequate parking, especially the garages fit, even the 2-car garages only fit 1 car. So we'll probably be looking for a lot more additional parking in this area to compensate for the first area not panning out the way we hoped as far as where people are parking.
Yes, as far as the garage, I believe, I mean, I have to talk to maybe the homeowners, but I don't think we've gotten a ton of pushback in terms of 2 cars not fitting in there. I'd have to look at our plans to get the actual dimensions, but
The units are 20 feet wide, so the garages aren't any more than 19 wide. So if you plan on opening a door, those are tight for 2 cars.
Yeah.
I have a 0-car garage.
Yeah, because you've got other stuff in
Yeah.
it. And then that's generally
That's
what
what
tends to happen, and we just don't wanna make our public roads unsafe with, where we don't, we haven't required a wider right of way between units to allow, to make that safe. That's something, just to give them a heads up, that's something like that, I would be considering probably, especially where these are 8, like last 2, this should probably go all the way around all of these. So we add the parking on both sides to kind of compensate for what's going on here. I mean, in this one, I wish we had parking on the ends here so that we weren't having the road, more street parking here. So just things to think about.
Yeah.
That are going through.
We do have a power easement in between phase 1 and phase 3 right there, that underground power lines that connect to the cell tower. It's kind of why we pushed
So,
those units south there. We've talked to Rocky Mountain Power. I don't, and maybe Matt, you can give some insight to this, but potentially trying to relocate that underground power line into our existing infrastructure, but first need to determine what that, if that's possible, even, I don't really know what the cell tower is generating, but
Yeah.
right now
I
we're,
have no idea.
yeah, right now we're planning to maintain that underground power line, at least right now, but we'll.
It's run between those.
Yeah, yeah, in the phase 1, we had to, there was like an in-bridge line too that we had to relocate up here. In this area, but there's a Rocky Mountain Power underground power line that comes right from the cell tower. Here.
You say you're talking to Rocky Mountain about that?
Yeah, yep. Yep. Yeah, and then they have about like a 10-foot easement that basically runs like this over the power line, yeah.
So, let's go back to this for a second, for the parking. If you needed to put additional parking in there, and then, and this is thoughts.
Mhm.
Where would you put extra parking? Because what I see in high density is not what's existing, but what comes. We got parents who visit, we got family members from visit, which creates logistical problems. Is there anything that could be added into plans to try to put some outside additional parking that would obviously alleviate or ease some of the parking problems that will exist with this obviously housing project?
Yeah, as far as the phase 1 and 2, that's existing, on the phase 3. Looking at what we proposed here, obviously we don't know on like the south portion
Yeah, right.
here, what's existing. We're basically up to the property line right there. I don't know, I don't think we have the total lot count of parking stalls right here. As you can see, it's quite a bit more than what we have in phase 1 and 2.
And I'm grateful for that parking that's in there.
Yeah.
But as an overall situation, yeah, as you continue to develop even to the west, that area there.
Are you talking about the?
Phase 2, or whatever that is, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the phase 2 portion.
yeah, that's gonna create, once again, more intensity of what we've got going on right now, just phase 1, phase 2. So I think logistically, parking is gonna be, an item that will continue to be kept coming up.
Yep.
Yeah, especially as I see it, a resident about the neighborhood. Yes, I'm gonna use that as an access, but I'm watching a lot of, and it will be a number of years before that part to the north is even allowed to be built.
Yep.
Depending on how, the Army Corps of Engineers decides that what wetlands we can't have.
Right.
What dry lands we can't do.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah, it would be great if we could get an access road up to the north. I think what we had talked about is potentially more like a pedestrian pathway to the north, I know that kind of came up in a last discussion.
It did.
I think that would be awesome to drive, not only residents here, but like you're saying, to the west. Kind of drive that traffic, not using a car to get up there.
So, anyhow, potential things that we look at.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're all gonna look at this.
Yep.
That's my 2 cents.
So next steps to circle back, will maps available or an online call or
Yeah.
whatever coordination
Yeah.
your traffic engineer would need to conduct that.
Yeah.
Get those numbers back, that study completed. Follow up with UDOT, maybe even before you come back to the city to see
Yep.
what requirements they're gonna have based on that study.
Yeah, I think that's
And
it.
then we'll see where we're at with that
Perfect.
information.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay. And
Awesome.
then we'll get you the letter on 2A.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Preston.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Okay, we have one item we wanted to go over as the project management committee. Jack's preparing or has prepared a memo. We just want to get some feedback from the committee on our public noticing. The Jack, I'll let you present it.
Yeah, so we had somebody inquire if our public noticing was legal, we meet the legal requirements. So I've outlined this memo. I reviewed state code, 63G 3102, which has to do with our public noticing, and then 1020, which is the land use noticing. So overall, with the review, we do meet the legal requirements, but there are some suggestions that I saw while reviewing other municipalities that I think would be a benefit to add to our notices. And those would be that 3 of the jurisdictions in the county identify the Weber County parcel numbers that a land use amendment would change. I think that would help for clarity. The law just says we need to provide a general address, but I feel like this specific would be very beneficial to provide. About 70% provide the current zone and the proposed zone that it will be moving to. So I feel like that would be a benefit to add. Right now, our current public notice calls out the parcel that it will be zoned and where to find more information. That leads to the state website and our website where the packet is. 2 provide an approximate acreage of the proposal, and 1 provides a map of the actual. So when we do our mailing, we do provide a map, but it is not postable on the state website that way. So I did pull up a couple cities as examples. They're in the folder for city. And they are just our 3 neighboring cities. So there were some cities that are not following the law, and I admitted pulling any of theirs, so I'm not trying to call anybody out, just showing examples.
Which one?
So you can pull up any of those with the app. So this is our standard notice. We have what they call a notice summary statement that's outlined in 63G 3101, where we have a title. We state the code that we're doing it under. It provides an approximate address, invites residents to make comments, says where they can make the comments. We need to provide an email address for those comments, a phone number, and then list the state website and our website. So we are meeting those legal requirements. But in the description, I feel like some of these suggestions would be a benefit to add. This is North Ogden's. They're the one in the county that provides a map for their notice. They provide the address, parcel number. So I think being more specific like that would be a benefit in our notice. I'm just looking for committee's feedback to see what you guys would like to see. Because in our training, and Cynthia can attest to this, there's some areas that go too far and kind of it's not understandable to people. And some that simplify it too much. There's a fine line. Just trying to find where we want to be on that line. The not to call Pleasant View out, we separate our public notices individually. Personal opinion, I feel like this may be a little bit too complicated when they list them all together. I prefer them called out this public notice, here, this public notice, and they're identified separately on separate notices. Once again, no law for that, that is personal opinion. And then this is Ogden's notice.
We can go back to North Ogden real quick. I want to see if they They call out zone change.
Yeah, at the bottom, HP one zone to HP two.
Yeah, I have so much to do with my own.
We can't all,
No, but I do think this is a great, this looks, really approachable.
it's easier for people to know right away where you're talking about.
So with
It's
the,
pretty easy, I think, to plop on there.
with the maps, I can do it on our website, but the state website doesn't always allow the upload of maps. So it would be the text on the state website, and our website would have the map.
So is this, they don't do Columbus State, is that their,
They have the wording, but it doesn't, well, you can upload the notice, and I would do that as a document or a PDF attachment, but on the actual notice that, like, we develop the state website and it reads what it is.
they don't allow PDF for that, it's only,
Yeah, it's just, you're copy and pasting it from the Word document.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
They embedded in an email that sent out to people and
Yes.
the map wouldn't show up in that email, but they would have access to the link that would take them to the document.
But those four things are my recommendations. I think would improve clarity and
The public notice.
on the public notice.
So I'm curious, did you hear what the complaint was from that person that complained about saying you weren't meeting state code?
It was that we were not providing a good enough description to the public.
So do you think that's 100% based off of this, or do you think that it is based off of them not knowing how to find that information?
I would say both, because they cited specifically that the other cities are doing things differently, which is what spawned the looking at different cities. So a little bit of both, and then the question of what people understand. But they asked me, would they do? Have we broken it down enough so the standard person understands it?
What is your steps to putting this out to the public?
Yeah.
Doing the state, the website for the city?
Yeah.
Do you put a sign up on the property?
No, so only
Okay.
with annexations. We have 3 places that they get posted. We have public notice boards. So one's at the cabin, one's over on 2150, and here at the city hall.
Okay.
And then they're also available, it states in our notice, they can come in and get a copy of the notice, materials, everything. And then the packet and everything is provided, it's on the website and the state website. Some of these, with the one that's in this one is for, development on West Harrisville Road. With the NBA site plans and everything, it's like 80 pages, and I can't get the physical paper in our public notice boxes. So that's why in the bottom of our notice, it just draws, for more information, visit the website or the state website.
And so that's why I said add to this, is at the very end, if it say
And they have at the
more.
bottom.
Oh,
So,
is it after the
yeah.
map? Oh,
Yeah,
there we
see,
go.
So sorry.
And to make sure, yeah, they know that there are more extensive details available. There was like, oh, just get me some.
And knows why. And to Jack's credit, we still do mailers, even though that's not been required by state law for quite some time, but we
Oh, really?
still do it within 300 feet of 300 or 500.
I think it's 500. Well, it used to be 500.
Now it just says affected entities.
Yeah,
So
so,
what does that mean?
So we've taken it for,
yeah,
we took the old state code for 300 feet, utility providers, anybody like that we can think of. So we pulled the blue stakes, surrounding cities. I know you guys do that too, because we get it from you all the time.
yeah.
They were doing this, and I'm like, oh, that's like, wait a minute.
Stuff
So we're still in an effort to notify residents that might be most affected by those notices. We're sending the mailers out. So we aren't posting the properties. We would find that our signs would just get trashed.
Yeah.
And then the areas where you would swap out, you'd have your hard sign, and then that space where you're supposed to put in the information relative to that specific project would just get destroyed from rain or the elements, and then nobody could read it anyway. We could still put a sign on the property saying, go to the city's website if you want to know what's going on this property.
We would have to get their permission to do that.
So We actually, in Beaver County, talked about making it a requirement of the developer, because we had a lot of people upset. They're like,
We didn't even
it's-
know.
we have no idea, which is true. It is a little strange, but the noticing is you need to look at the state's website all the time, like, so if we really want public input. And I think it's fine as part of the
Developers.
developer's responsibility to say, you have to post, and they'll print up a vinyl sign. They have the time and resources to do it, and I don't think that needs to be a city's responsibility.
So you've been talking about that in Weaver County. That's been a suggestion that's been made to the city in the past, so maybe one step further is to ask. Is the process, I mean, we are talking about, the city council's been talking about this process as a little bit, on a particular member, more than others, but what do you think, Grover, to making some of these changes?
I like the fact as I'm reading through this, go back up to the top above I look at this and to me, as I'm looking here, is every line a different item? Because I can't discern down at the bottom here space, so I know I have a paragraph to read. Or
So maybe a little bit like,
even a
augments
simple
here.
bullet point like that, which tells me, okay, this is one thing that needs to be attention, this is another. And just making sure it doesn't, then, as I'm reading that, I say, okay, I need to pay attention. Anyhow, that just draws
good
it back
suggestion.
versus
Yeah.
here,
This
yeah,
is
I've got
what
all
I'm
this
bringing
listed,
up
but
to
I
you.
don't know if it's a run-on sentence or it's two different things.
All right, great. Additional feedback? We thought this was a good group to bring it to. So, yeah, let's move forward with your recommendations. Some of the changes, like Grover said, make it easy to read and add the map. And see if we can't get some positive feedback on people.
I also do like what you're talking about, somewhere, so I'm sure. I don't understand, even posting, I think that's very. And yeah, that can be part of the requirements, not to think where items being developed.
If you want something like the annexations where you have to put 4 different signs, so hopefully it's every possible space.
Say any frontage,
Frontage.
Frontage.
and if stuff is double frontage, they have to, but any frontage. And I think even at that, it would be more reasonable to eliminate the mailers, because if someone never sees the sign, then the development probably won't affect them.
That's a good point.
And someone who may be further away, anyone who's seeing that sign is affected. They drive past it, they see it.
And I'll check with legal and Brody on what, if that type of a requirement developers needs to be changed in our code. It's what we can make, staff can make changes to better communicate to the public, but something that we're gonna
I think
require
it does, because
developers.
it's part of the application process, and it's not something.
Yeah, but happy to talk about that. We can talk to planning commissioners next month, planning commission and staff. Follow up on that and then ultimately present it to the city council. Let them make a formal decision on to what extent we want to go with that. That work?
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion for the committee?
Or we just add that, like, the signs for the reason, add it to our subdivision.
Well,
Not even these.
it would, yeah, it'd be the land use,
Yeah, that's
the land use
you're right,
section,
under
not
land,
subdivision,
yeah.
yeah, so that would have to go forward.
And we're only talking about doing that on.
Yes,
Just
Not
reasonable.
business.
yeah, right,
If it's administrative, we don't want.
yeah, it just legislative.
That's not very.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and adjourn our